if you get the market research, it would be meaningless.
If you're not careful, it really leads to burnout and increased expenses that ruin and absolutely obliterate your profitability.
Stop overthinking and just start creating. You don't have to tell anyone that you started a YouTube channel. Don't worry.
One is that no one cares about your videos. This is two categories of people who do not care. Number one, your friends and family do not care. And number two, the audience also does not care.
First, by using wildly inflated numbers like $41,000 per month, because in reality, the channel would only be making about $480 per month.
Talking badly about my YouTube channel, they had actually tried to start their own YouTube channel a year earlier, but then given up on it. And then when I finally became successful, they didn't really have that much to laugh about anymore.
I know math is hard when you're an idiot, but like if you're a broke boy, just say so.
Yo, what's good everyone? It's a little bit of a different video today. I'm going to be saying some things that I feel like aren't commonly expressed by people my age at least. You know, being born in 2005, I really just don't hear this often, but I feel like I see it, and I'm just going to say a couple things. Super different video, but we're still going to run with it because I think I'm a thoughtful person, and getting it out and just talking to the camera and people and leaving a message for myself in a couple years, I think will do me some good. And letting myself know like where I came from, where I started, never letting myself forget, or at least having a way to look back, I think will be nice. And I recently started a 410 full-time job, so that's been a pain in the yeah, it's been a pain, and I don't got a whole lot of time for teching or gaming and anything, honestly, but here goes none. So yeah, I'm not even super sure how to like start something like this off, but I'm just gonna go because I think it'll make sense by the end. I've just noticed that, like, you know, some of my favorite content creators, like I watch NMPLOL, Asmongold, Hasan, that I get this like super weird bitter feeling, and I'm not even super sure how to make sense of it. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, but I'm just gonna express how I feel and where I come from, or where I think it comes from. And before I say that, I just want to make it clear that like I try to be a logical person, and I have a lot of thoughts about a situation. I weigh my pros and cons very often, I would say, in most situations that I'm in. So I know that, like, you know, for NMPLOL, for example, him and Milena do a lot of planning. They've thrown some of the biggest events in history. You know, Hasan is definitely a smarter person than I am in general, especially politically. Asmongold has devoted his life to streaming, you know, things like that. I do find myself getting bitter at when, you know, especially NMP, you know, his whole thing is sarcasm and pushing people's buttons and limits. But like when him, or even Pokimane, because I feel she's a pretty fake persona, like they get a bit of an ego, I get bitter, embarrassed, and almost angry. And I'm just trying to make sense of that because, you know, for one, I for sure know that jealousy is a cause, for sure. So this has been a thing for me for the longest time, you know. It's not limited to these creators or to these specific situations. It's sometimes random, and sometimes at the situation where I mentioned, where like one of them gets an ego or slips up and has what I've known, like what I see it to be called a rich take. Just super interesting concept. And as confused as I've been about this, I do still listen to Asmon's take on what he thinks the common person thinks about a political situation, economic situation, you know, how the streamers themselves react to people who feel the way I am, but expressing it in their chat. I do take it all in. I talk to friends and family about this, see if they experience something similar and what sense they make of it. But like I said, jealousy for sure has a role in it, maybe is one of the main causes, I would say, and I just want to explore that a bit. As a kid, you know, being born in 2005, I kind of missed the Modern Warfare 2 era of gaming, but I did grow up gaming. I had an uncle I grew up with who was like an older brother to me, you know, went with him to sports, played video games with him, COD 3, World at War, all that fun stuff. And so my point in bringing this up is, and a little bit about my past, is that I'm trying to dig really deep into where the jealousy, I think, causes the feeling I'm talking about towards these streamers and successful content creators is deep rooted in my upbringing or childhood. If you're into gaming or were on YouTube pretty much at all in this era, you would at least be familiar with the whole trickshotting scene, the whole gaming scene blowing up, especially Call of Duty. And as a kid witnessing all that, I was heavily inspired. I always have been. Video games have been pretty much my number one source to go to, whether healthy or not, you know. I pretty much had an addiction when I was younger, but they've been my source to go to when I was in pain, when I've had my best memories, just chilling, improving at random things. Video games have always been my thing. So growing up and seeing all of that, people like Vanoz Gaming, people like FaZe Jev, the FaZe Clan in general, both comedic and trickshot shit, I was just all, you know, elbows deep in it all. I loved it. Personally, you know, I know Modern Warfare 2, for a lot of people around my age, probably a little older, is their game of their childhood, you know, all their fondest memories. And I do have those memories, but to be honest, the games I hold closest to my heart are Modern Warfare 3, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4, Black Ops 2. That era is my favorite. And I would say it's when trickshotting montages were most prevalent, especially around Black Ops 2. So I was even an OG Ninja's Hyper fan. I was watching him play Reach when not a quarter of as many people who watch him now were, you know. I was all up in there. And I was so inspired, you know, especially Ninja back then. He was a little bit of a freak, but I loved it. He was undeniably amazing at Halo. And, you know, I don't even know if people know what this is, but like ninja montages in Halo, I was all over that. Even as a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, I was making montages of that myself, you know? So even back then, I was already trying to identify with this passion that I had, not only for gaming, but for putting it up there and letting other people see it and having a community around that, you know? It's pretty corny, but I would literally have music playing while I was playing Halo, and when a beat dropped, I would try to hit a clip on the beat drop, not even understanding that people didn't actually play like that. They just edited it together like that. That's hard to say. But yeah, they edited it together like that. And well, I was ignorant, you know, I was young. I was 10, crapping on these 20-year-olds playing the game, just living my life, having fun. And I would see people posting about it. I was like, man, this is so sick. I love music. I love games. I want something I do that's amazing to land on this beat drop and just have people in awe, have people enjoying it, have people talk to me about it. I loved it. You know, as a kid, I always wanted to do YouTube. I already knew that, but I never did because, you know, I still remember actually the first time I had a realization that, you know, my dad could say, "Hey Google" to his phone, and that shit would turn on and listen to his words after that. But in order to hear him say, "Hey Google," it always had to be listening. And I remember discovering that at a young age and just being so freaked out and seeing some drama popping up just about oxing and all that. I would say personally it was a happier age of YouTube, but that stuff was still going on and it scared me. And honestly, when I think about it, I don't think I'd want my 8 or 13-year-old, you know, super involved in media nowadays. But, you know, nonetheless, that's why I hadn't yet. And I was so scared of publicity. I was so scared of success or even failure, especially failure. There's a lot of personal setbacks. I don't think I should have started when I was 8, but I really wish I would have listened to my heart at a certain point. You know, I was 14 when we went into lockdown. I was in my freshman year of high school. And, you know, I was stuck inside. School wasn't even really that hard during that time. I would sleep during class 90% of the time. Like, I went back and played Halo Reach even though it was years and years and years old. I went and played Battlefield 3 even though it was years and years and years old. That was a horrible voice crack. Me and my friends, we went back and played custom games on Black Ops 2. Man, that shit was fucking sick. And honestly, at that point, I really do wish I would have uploaded to YouTube. And let's bring it back to the whole bitterness situation. I think that's what this jealousy stems from. I wish I would have started earlier. Because You know, now I'm taking my first steps, and I don't expect to see results or do an actual check-in that determines whether or not I keep this up for another 3 years, because I'm trying my best to start this off with a humble mind, saying that in the past I did have fears in failure and even success, all the publicity, all that would come with it, having to keep it up. Now I'm ready. Now I want to take the step. Now I realize that if I start now, I had to drop out of college. By the time I would have graduated college, I can be somewhere in my YouTube career. I can be starting off. I can be more skilled than I am now, in a different situation than I am now, ideally better, all of the above. So again, I think I'm jealous because I wish I would have started. And I feel like, you know, everyone has their personal issues, so I'm not gonna act like I'm unique in this sense, but more that my point is that I'm not unique. And I think people can relate to the fact that with a lot going on, especially personally, you know, I've been depressed for a long time, to the point where I almost have to, you know, admit that it's so bad that I struggle to get out of bed. I struggle to do the simplest of things, you know, clean my room, personal hygiene, all that. I'm a germaphobe, so I'm not like, you know, fat and disgusting, but these things were genuinely hard for me to just pick my head up off the pillow and do. So I have had my setbacks, but it's time to start, man. And I'm only saying that because I want people, even on that scale of hopeless and depressed and tired and just no motivation, to be able to see this and know this is where I come from. And if it's similar to where you come from, it's just time to get up and go, man. You just gotta start somewhere. You can't expect success. You can't expect anything of it. Just do what you love. And down the line, if you're consistent and care about improving your efforts, you'll get there. No more regrets, no more waiting, no more lack of confidence. Be humble, get out there. I have some dream and passions I want to see sought out, and I'm willing to make mistakes and attempts over and over again. Humbly here, just to grow my craft and share my passions. To, at some point, satisfy that inner me, because I have had no passion for occupations like doctors, occupations like, again, hardcore car mechanic, you know. This is my passion, and I'm here to see this out. And I'm tired of holding myself back, honestly. Right now, you have nothing. Right now, you pretty much are nothing. You have no progress towards said dream and passions. Right now, you're working a 4-10 miserable-ass schedule. Barely any time for all your hobbies, all your interests. You have barely any time in general, to be honest. You've been done and have done wrong. You're a pessimist and you got doomer-ass mentality. These are your first steps. Whether it all ends up being a waste or a fat success, or in 3 years when I watch this back, I am nowhere or everywhere. I'm choosing now to put in the work I know is required to make any sort of progress. And to those who are watching this seconds after it comes out, days after it comes out, weeks, months, or with me when I watch it in 3 years, to those of you who have been or are in situations just like me, better or worse, man, look at me. It's time to get going. It's time to start. Look at me, man. I don't got shit. This is on my laptop camera with a headset mic. I don't got nothing, man. If your dream is to be a content creator, start from nothing. Let them see you at nothing. That way, when they see you at everything, they can only be mad at themselves. Because you're just someone who decided to step up and put the work in. Yes, the last thing, or the last way I want to put it, is dedicate the part of you that yearns for the success, that yearns for the passion behind it. Dedicate that aspect of you to seeing it succeed. Hold on to it when you're struggling. Hold on to it when you're questioning your choices. Hold on to it when you don't feel like doing it. Let it take over. Let it carry you. Let it put you through it. Because in the end, the person who puts in the most practice and works the smartest will come out on top.